So last week, I had an opportunity to go to a ARIA, which is a Asian Real Estate Agents Association, I think is the exact acronym for it, luxury summit. And it was at Trump Tower in Chicago. So any of you remember The First Apprentice? Am I too old? So The First Apprentice, the guy who won was Bill Rancid. Okay, so as it turned out, this is the building. This is the building that he was building. If he won, he was going to work on that building. So that building was not there at the time The First Apprentice was run. It was really kind of cool because they had Donald Trump Jr. was there. It's a phenomenal facility. It's right on the river, which is right next to the lake. It's just a tremendous, tremendous place. And Bill, who was the first winner of The Apprentice, actually was there and did speak. So it was kind of cool, very, very interesting. And the whole concept of my going and my taking part of it was to kind of understand a little bit of what was going on in the world of luxury real estate, in the world of higher end properties, what was going on with that, and how that relates to Century 21. Because, you know, what I hear from time, I've been doing this basically with Century 21 for 40 years. And you hear that Century 21 just isn't that big a player in the luxury end, and they don't have that many contacts in Asia, etc. This is the stuff you hear. And, you hear like, oh my gosh, TELUS opened an office in Beijing. Whoa, that's fantastic. And you hear another, Sotheby's has 3 offices in China and 1 in Taipei. Whoa, that's fantastic. They're the player. So I wanted to check this out. I wanted to see what the story was. So I don't know if you knew. So let me just kind of paint a picture of how big the market is. In China, the Chinese buyer, let me rephrase this. Foreign buyers in America last year spent $92.2 billion buying residential real estate and investment real estate. That's closed transaction. $92 billion last year. And from that, they were led by China, which was 29% of all of the commercial real estate bought. Almost 30% of all. So it's a big player, right? So that's just China. But that doesn't include Japan, and it doesn't include Indonesia, and all of the islands in the Pacific Rim. So let me tell you a piece of information. Century 21 has 2,700 real estate offices in the Pacific Rim. Write that down. 2,700. 2,700. When Sotheby's says they have an office in Beijing, that's great. But did you know in China alone, Century 21 has 900 offices? 900 offices. So when they talk about, the 30% of the buyers coming to America to buy these kinds of properties and the connections, because it's all about connections, right? It's all about the perceptions of the seller. So what I was trying to do was understand the size of the market and how we at Century 21 relate to that market, and then come back here and share this with you so that you can share this to your buyers and sellers. We do a great job, a phenomenal job in the $2 to $600,000 range, okay? And we're all trying to pump ourselves up to the next level, the $7 to $1 million range. And look, the luxury market is a great market. And the luxury market in Southern California, in Los Angeles, starts at about $3 or $4 million. And the truth is, there's a number of $4 or $5 million deals that are being done here. But how about doing $1 million deal? How about doing an $800,000 deal? How about doing 10 or 15 $800,000. Let me ask you something. If you did 10 $800,000 deals over the next 12 months, how would that change your cash flow? Just curious, okay? So what I wanted to do was I wanted to bring the information and bring to you the story. Now, I don't have it in a complete presentation yet. But what I am giving you are pieces of the puzzle. Do you guys get that? Yeah. It's pretty powerful information. So that's point number one. Point number two, we have 900 offices in China and 800 offices in Japan. And interestingly enough, Japan is coming back as a player. Okay, so in fact, a lot of the big buildings that have been transferred over the last 12 months have been bought by the Pacific Rim, by Asia. Okay, so we need to consider that. Did you know that one of the most recognized? So let's back up. It's about recognition. So if you have people in Asia who are recognized the name Century 21, when they come to America, thank you. When they come to America, and they recognize the name Century 21 or not? Okay? You see, I'm comfortable with that. I need to make you comfortable with that. You guys get what I'm going? Okay? 2,700 offices. So if they say Sotheby's has 3, or TELUS has a new one, or Partners Trust has an office in Beijing, that's great. But we have 400 in Beijing alone. Do you know that? Beijing alone, 400 Century 21s. Now, could you make a listing presentation out of that? If a third of the buyers that are buying property in Los Angeles, let me give you another statistic. Here's this. So they talked in this event that let's see. Excuse me. In 2013, the top market for foreign investment was New York City for the Pacific Rim. Okay? In 2014, Los Angeles took it over. Interesting, huh? So it was New York City, and now it's Los Angeles. Why? Why do you think? Our weather's part of it. Why else? Better value. Well, it's a little bit better value, okay? But there's a fundamental, basic thing that parents want. Schools. Listen to this. 9 out of 10 parents want their children to go to university. Okay? In the Pacific Rim, that's the study. 9 out of 10 parents want their children to go to university. 62% want their children to study in a postgraduate. And 3/4 of the parents would consider they're sending their children abroad for a better university education. Who has some of the best schools in the world? Los Angeles, San Francisco, Stanford, Berkeley, USC, UCLA, the colleges at Claremont, and then the USC, the SC system. Think about that. It's huge. They want to come in. And then what do? They buy a condo. They buy an apartment. They buy an investment piece of property. So what do we need to do? We need to take listings based on telling that story because of our connection with the Pacific Rim. You guys, are you with me right now? Are you kind of getting the story and getting the connection here? This is not 100% of what we're doing. All I'm doing is bringing facts of the marketplace to you. A percentage of the buyers in the United States for 2014, 29 to 30% of those were foreign investors from the Pacific Rim. Okay? By the way, you know what a bigger portion of investors are? You know where they come from? You don't know. Canada. More investment money comes from Canada than actually comes from the Pacific, from the Pacific Rim. Interesting. An amazing amount of money comes from Canada into America. It's a lot of money being spent of that $92 billion. So they say, again, why is it attractive? America, the United States, they consider it a financial safe harbor. In the globe today, in the world, Europe is fairly soft. Okay? The euro compared to the dollar is soft, and they have trouble. The only country that I'm aware of right now that's having any kind of strength is Germany. Okay? Most of the other countries are having, you've heard of the problems that they have in Greece, you've heard of some of the problems that they've had in some of the other countries. So those are issues. So what happens today is that we're not looking for, when we have China, the yuan, excuse me, is that the currency? No, yen is Japan. Y-U-A-N. They call it the yuan. And you know the pronunciation? Cash. Is actually stronger than the American dollar, slightly stronger than the American dollar. So, when you look at Hong Kong and certain areas of China that are going up in value, certain areas of the United States are less expensive. To your point, Freddie, it's a better deal. Okay? It is a better deal. And if the currency in China is stronger than the currency in America, then the exchange rate is a little bit better. So therefore, you get a little bit more for the dollar by doing that. Okay, you guys with me on this? All right. So those are some of the points that there's, and I'll send you some website links. But Century 21 changed its website from just century21.com to century21global.com. Now, global.com now services the entire world, so that our listings that we have here in Walnut, California, also can be looked at in China, in Japan. Also, they can be looked at in Germany, in Sweden. And at the top, if you go take a look at this, and this is something neat to be able to show your sellers when you go on a listing presentation. Make sure that you pop this up, or you take on your listing presentation what do they call those flat things?
iPad?
Thank you, iPad. One of those flat things. When you take an iPad or a computer with you, make sure that you bring it up. Try it before you go. Make sure it works before you get there. But bring it up, and then change at the top of the website. You can change the language, so that the language, I think it's in 15 or 16 different languages, so that it converts the money too. So if it's in pounds, if you're in London, it's in dollars if you're in America, it's in yen if it's in Japanese. So it converts all of that, and all these properties. I wrote down, I don't know if I still have it here. There's 53,697 real estate listings found in China from America. Pretty big number. 53,697. Okay?
I just said, can we get some tutoring Chinese, Mandarin? I'm signing up right now.
So here's my thinking on this. It's not that we're going. Those buyers are coming over, and we have that connection. We have that connection because of our offices that are in those countries. Did you guys get that? I mean, that's the question, is like, well, we want, let's back up. Seller says to you, we want a connection to the Pacific Rim, right?
Right.
Okay, so what's your connection to the Pacific Rim? Well, geez, yesterday I wasn't sure what my connection is. Today it's crystal clear that our connection is not this, it's gigantic. It's bigger than anything else out there. It's bigger than any other company. This is not a bunch of BS, guys and gals. These offices exist, they're running, they're up. And if you go in and see some of these websites and see things, absolutely amazing what's going on over there. Now, they're not 50, 60 person offices. They're 4 agent offices, 12 agent offices, 20 agent offices. They do business differently in other countries than we do. I don't know if you've been to Italy, and some of the offices have 3 agents in them. It's just a different way they do business. But when you go on a listing appointment and the seller wants to know how we're going to connect with the Pacific Rim, because the concept is that the buyer is coming from the Pacific Rim and they're getting off the airplane with suitcases of cash. Okay? That's the perception. We know that not to be true, but that's the perception. So they want to know from us is, what's our connection? Now we have a story to tell. And we have to get better and better and better at working on telling the story. But when you go out to get that listing in that higher end neighborhood, this is a story. This is a great story that you have to sell. You guys with me on this?
Yeah.
Does this make sense?
Yes.
Okay, all 4 of you. Good job. Okay. All right. Questions on anything we covered so far?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Is there an actual list of offices and cities? Something that's like concrete
Probably.
that we could point to?
I-
Probably on the website. So that it wasn't so random, like, oh, 900.
Yeah, the short answer is I'm sure. I just have to get my hands on. But yeah, I'm sure we can. Absolutely. Go ahead, Sharon.
If we, come up with a nice presentation on this, like a one-page flyer, would you suggest putting that into our pre-listing package?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think you should be presenting it. I think that this should be part of what we do. Not all of what we do,
Right.
but part of what we do. I still think it's important for us to call and talk to 200 people around the listing. I still think that's important. I think it's important occasionally to do an open house. I think that's important. I think it's important to preview and do the other things that we're doing. But remember, when we're on an appointment, it's like we need to add that piece to our presentation. You have to have seen it. You have to touch it. You have to go online. You have to see. So it's century21global.com. It's century21cn.com. And it's century21.jp. That's the Japanese one. There's also one in Hong Kong, but I couldn't get that to work. So don't use that one until it works. Questions?
The website shows all the different regions and countries if you go to
Sorry?
the Century 21 Global. It shows all the countries and regions, like if they go at the bottom, all the offices and the different.
Right.
Cool.
And it is mobile phone friendly. Thank you. Which is a really big deal today. That was another thing I learned. That was a completely separate conversation, but it really is a big deal to have all your websites and all those things mobile phone friendly. Ours is. There's another piece of information here. Let's see. Oh. It talked about Oh, I must have printed this differently. Oh, this was a note. I didn't put a graph up. Worldwide net worth. Okay, this was another thing I learned at this event. Worldwide net worth. Well, there you go. Thank you, Virginia. Worldwide net worth is at an all-time high. Worldwide net worth, okay, is at an all-time high. So that's the what people have around the world in their portfolios, okay, either in cash or the value of their stocks and bonds or in their real estate holdings. And real estate in America is just a great investment, an exciting investment. It's where people want to come and put their money, okay? Don't forget that. And it goes, you know, maybe it starts in Beverly Hills and Brentwood and Holmby Hills. Maybe it starts there. But remember, we have people that have that kind of money, then you have the people that have the West LA kind of money, then you have the people that have the San Marino kind of money, and then you have the people that have the Walnut kind of money, then you have the people that have the Inland Empire kind of money, and you've moved down into Orange County, then of course you have Newport, you have Laguna, etc., and then it kind of works backwards toward this way along off of the coast. All right? There's no reason why you can't upgrade everything that you're doing. Okay? But you've got to upgrade it. You have to look the part and act the part and be the part. And that's my goal. My goal for going to this event was to start to bring that to you. What if we could help you as an organization? Right now our average in San Gabriel Valley is $10,000 a closing. In Orange County it's about $15,000 a closing. I mean, that's an interesting difference. But what if I could help you get another $5,000 per deal? Okay, over the next 12 to 18 months. What if we move that up another $5,000? So that instead of getting $10,000 for 30 transactions, it's $300,000. You got the same 30 deals, or maybe you did 32 deals, but you got $15,000. You'd get almost $500,000. Which is better? Just curious. Okay, questions?
Yeah.
Yes.
We have financing for all the overseas clients, and it's like stated income.
Correct.
You don't have to show income, it's just a CPA letter certified by the embassy, and that's your income.
Yeah, there's a lot of ways to finance a property today. All the deals are not all cash. There are loans and things being done with them. So absolutely, great point. Your job is to go get the listings and tell your story, our story, to the sellers. And when you go up against a Sotheby's or a Coldwell Banker Premier, or you go up against Telus Properties or Partners Trust, you go up with pride, okay? They have somebody in Beijing, you have 40 somebodies in Beijing. They have 10 things going on in China, you have 400 things going on in China. We have 2,700 offices in that Pacific Rim, that area of the world. We have another 1,000 offices or so in Europe. There's a ton of people coming from there. And one of the largest Century 21 organizations is in Canada. And a lot of money is moved from Canada. You have those connections. You have those opportunities. My job to teach you how to make a listing presentation. It's my job to teach you what to say and how to say it at the highest level, and to surround yourself with great people. Okay? And then to bring you this information so that you can now make that part of your presentation. Okay, Tess?
Do we have like an updated information of what you were talking about so that we can update our listing packages?
Yeah, unfortunately, I took pictures of the graphs instead of got the real graph. So I'm working on trying to get those. I can send you what I have, and I'll do that, and then you can cut and paste and do it. And there's a ton of articles, there's a ton of information, there's a lot of information out there. I mean, I was working on this yesterday, just adding pieces to what was going on, and I mean, it was just, I was working for hours, and it just kept a lot more information out there. So there's a lot of stuff on this subject out there. My job is to bring you the awareness and help you build that listing presentation, and then go out and knock those doors and do those things that are necessary to move you up to the next level. I'm not suggesting that you have to be selling $4 and $5 million houses tomorrow. That's okay if you want to. I'm not going to stand in your way, just so you know. But I want you to be aware that every time you move your price point up slightly, you make some more money, and that's okay. Shannon.
Can you do just like a little quickie role play? How that would come off in a listing presentation?
I will, but not right this second, okay? Yeah. I'll do a couple of things, okay? Got it. All right, other questions, thoughts? So what do you think?
Very impressive.
Great, yeah.
Had no idea.
No, I really didn't have, I had an idea, but I didn't understand the scope of what we're really talking about there. You know, and because I've heard, the last few weeks, you know, TELUS opened an office in Beijing, and Partners Trust opened an office in Beijing, and, well, that kind of bothered me. And, you know, what did that mean? What does that mean to us? And so I started doing this research and found that, you know, they're playing catch up. They're so far behind when you understand what we're doing here. So pretty exciting, pretty
How do we
exciting.
position ourselves here, you know, with the big brokers that are getting the higher end? How do we compete against them? Besides the offices there, how do we compete?
Well, that's the whole point, Freddie, is that when you go, you know, I titled this, Did You Know? Okay? And it starts with me teaching you, and then you turning around and teaching them. And, you know, they'll say, well, you know, I'm considering TELUS, and I'm considering Sotheby's and Coldwell Banker. It's, you know, and I can appreciate that, Mr. and Mrs. Jones. And can you tell me why? Well, because of their presence in the international market, et cetera, et cetera. Well, here's your role play. So all you had to do is just, right. Don't put me on the spot. Ask it a different way. When do you plan on moving? So I don't know if you knew this or not, but one of the best kept secrets, and it's not such a great secret, to be very honest with you, Mr. and Mrs. Jones, but one of the best kept secrets is that Century 21 is a power player, not a player, a power player in the Pacific Rim. I don't know if you know this, but in the Pacific Rim, where it seems like a lot of this $92 billion is coming from, and you want a piece of that, right? Right, okay, absolutely. It's coming from this Pacific Rim, and in that area, Century 21 has not one office, not 4 offices, not 8 offices, not 27 offices, but 2,700 offices. It's like an office on every corner. You know, the connection is all, it must be an office on every corner. It's like Starbucks. I think we rival Starbucks. But as you can see, what you're looking for is you're looking for those buyers being exposed to your property, and that's what we do. We expose it through this website and this website and this website, because that's how it's really done, and our communication with them, and the different events. And I think that we have to involve ourselves in these different organizations. I think we need to involve ourselves with ARIA. We need to involve ourselves with NAREB. Is that how it's pronounced? NAREB. We have to involve ourselves with these organizations, and we have to involve ourselves with these agents. You know, by the way, just a side note. So Century 21 was I was hugely impressed with their involvement with ARIA at this event. They underwrote a number of events, a number of meetings. The president of Century 21 spoke at the opening address. They had a number of things going on. We were made to feel very welcome and very inclusive. Totally, not just because of the Century 21, but because of who we are and what's going on. I got to sit in some amazing meetings. They have what they call the A-list, and the A-list are all the top luxury brokers in the world that are part of this organization. Let me tell you something. There's some power players sitting in that room. It was great networking. We network well with the the Mike Ferry organization and like-minded people. Yet I have to tell you that there's actually, I don't know if these words would ever come across my mouth, but there's actually other real estate going on out there besides Mike Ferry. Did you know that? I didn't know that. No, I had no idea, but it was very interesting. I mean, these are guys and gals that don't necessarily do it the way we do it, but they're great people. They're people to know. They're people to understand and to network with. I mean, some really tremendous people. And I think that those are the things that we have to open ourselves up to and open our thinking to slightly, okay? I think the way we do business is right on. I think it's powerful. I think it's our wave of the future. I'm not changing the direction per se, but it was nice to meet some people that came from a little bit different street, just a little bit left or a little bit right of what I normally do. And it's neat that I think I can pick up the telephone now with some of these people and have some connections that I didn't have before. And I think that you need to think about that too. Okay? Good questions. Good. That was an okay role play? I'll work on it. Okay, good. All right. I hope that was helpful. Okay, I hope it was informative. I certainly was a great time and money spent for me. Moving away from the office for a few days, going to Chicago, it is definitely the windy city. There was not a moment of not wind. Go ahead.
Would you mind repeating those 3 websites?
Century21global.com, Century21cn.com, and Century21, it says .jp. All right, everybody, let's do our role play. We're going into advanced script class. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you.